Hello, everybody. Welcome back to yet another time of learning, sharing, and growing with EmmySpeaks. Today's learning is about exploring the transformative power of mindfulness. Throughout this period, we have been talking about intentional living. We started off by saying that there are three basic components that make an intentional life: purpose, mindfulness, and choices. Today, we dive into exploring mindfulness. What is mindfulness? How do you become mindful? How do you cultivate mindfulness? How do you apply mindfulness as a tool to foster intentional living? Welcome, everybody. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my space. This is EmmySpeaks, and I am Emmy. If you are new here, please subscribe, hit the notification bell so every week when I post a new content, you will be notified. Of course, you could like this video, drop a comment to let me know you stopped by, and why stop there? Go ahead and share it to your friends. EmmySpeaks is a home of encouragement, motivation, inspiration, love, fun, and joy. Here we get to share tips and tools to help you overcome life's challenges, and also tips that will help you become the best version of yourself. Throughout this period, we have been intentional in a series we titled Intentional Living. Let us dive into it. Today's episode is about mindfulness. What is mindfulness? What does it take to be mindful? In a fast-paced world, it is so easy for things to slip past by. It is so easy to get carried away with so many activities, with a lot to do, with, setting your gaze ahead. Your focus is ahead. You're walking on the road, but you're already visualizing your destination. And as a result, you are not paying attention to everything that is on your path because your mind has already taken you to your destination. You're training to become good at a job. You're training to become a doctor, and your focus is already seeing you in your white jacket operating on someone being successful at that which you are learning to become. And as a result, you are not paying attention to all that is happening on your journey to becoming a successful doctor. You're planning to get married, and your mind has already taken you to your beautiful wedding day, and all you see is yourself in a beautiful white dress with a beautiful makeup, beautiful hair, a beautifully dressed hall, beautifully dressed audience, everyone smiling at you, tears of joy running down your eyes. And as a result, you are totally losing sight of all that is happening around you because your mind is already set on your beautiful, perfect wedding day. That is beautiful. It is beautiful to train your mind to gaze towards success, to gaze towards the end. But it is also beautiful to train your mind to pay attention to the process. Every part of your journey has a role to play. Every part of your journey contributes to the piece of the puzzle that completes the process. So it is important that every step of the way we are mindful. So what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is the process of being fully present and engaged in the moment without judgment. It is about noticing our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our sensations as they arise. Just observing them in curiosity rather than being caught up. This looks like the minute your mood changes, you are aware. You don't wait until you react to that mood before noticing that, at some point in your day, you got angry. You don't wait until you lash out before noticing that at some point in your day, you got bitter, you got sad, you started feeling overwhelmed. Mindfulness helps you to be in touch and to be current with yourself. Most often, we only notice that our moods have changed, our feelings have changed when we have already reacted. Mindfulness helps you to be current with yourself. When your mood changes, you're able to identify, I'm happy right now, but then something has happened and all of a sudden I feel sad. Something has happened, all of a sudden I feel afraid. Something has happened, all of a sudden I feel angry. Something has happened, all of a sudden I feel joyful, I feel elevated. By paying attention like that, it will be easy for you to know your triggers. You would know the things people say to you that makes you angry. You would know the things people say to you that makes you sad, that makes you happy. And then it will be so easy for you to set boundaries around yourself. When you are not mindful, you can easily slide into a mode of reactive living as opposed to intentional living, which means means that you react to circumstances as opposed to deciding how you want to respond at a particular point in time. I had this incident at home one time with my kids, and it left me feeling really bad. So I walked into the house. It was already late at night, and my God, the house was scattered. Everywhere was just so scattered. As you can imagine, I went into the yelling mode. Oh my God, what have people been doing all day? Playing. And even if you play, don't you know that you have to put things in order? Why is the house scattered? Why is everywhere like this? They just let me yell because I'm mommy. Nobody could talk back at the time. I yelled and yelled and yelled. And after, my daughter told me that it rained and then the house flooded because there's a portion of the parlor that is exposed. The rain was so heavy and it came with heavy winds as well. So it actually entered the house. So while I was at work, it was raining, but I had no idea that back at home, that is what they were dealing with. So everywhere was actually wet. They were pushing those things so that the rain is not going to wet the chairs. And I came back home when the rain had just ceased. Now, I didn't know the stress that they were going through. I didn't know the stress that they were enduring while I was away. All I saw was a disorganized house late at night, and immediately I thought to myself that they have been playing, they have been absent-minded, and they have been doing all these things. Imagine how bad I felt after my kids actually explained to me what was going on, what happened, that the house was actually disorganized. And I thought to myself, why was I not just mindful? Why was I reactive? Why wasn't I intentional? Of course, I apologized to them because it was wrong of me. It was wrong of me to just be reactive at that point. If I was intentional, which would have involved mindfulness, I would have taken a pause. I would have been able to control myself and then ask questions to my kids that would have led to them giving me an explanation. And that explanation would have calmed me down. I would not have lashed out unjustly to my children because my lashing out at that time was unjust. They were doing their best. They were managing a situation. I wasn't even home to take care of them during that period when the house was flooding. And yet they were putting things under control. But because I wasn't mindful, I reacted in a way that caused tension in the house that evening. And I'm the mom. I'm supposed to be the one bringing the peace. I'm supposed to be the one bringing them so much love and nurture and all of that. Yes, in addition to the discipline. But instead, at that point in time, I wasn't being such a good mom. So mindfulness would help you develop a deep connection with yourself and with the world around you. Mindfulness helps you to step back from automatic reactions and make room for intentional responses. Mindfulness helps you to reduce stress. It helps you to build your focus and it enhances your overall well-being. When I was coming home, I was happy to come back home and rest, meet my kids, spend time with them. But immediately I met that situation, I became stressed. Why? Because I was reactive. But if I was mindful, it would have saved me the stress of feeling like my children are not responsible, or feeling like my children were playing all the while I was away. For a split second there, I thought the worst about them. And then it caused me to react in that way, stirring up stress. But if I was just mindful, I would have saved myself the stress. I would have saved myself, the time of thinking the worst about my children. They're actually very amazing. They're actually very responsible. I mean, look at the situation they put under control. Intentional living is all about choosing how you react. Mindfulness gives you the opportunity to make that choice. It gives you the space to make that choice because you are in touch with yourself. You're in touch with your feelings. You're in touch with the surrounding. You don't lose sight. You can make informed decisions. You can make choices that will lead to you responding intentionally. And I'm sure after all this, the question in your mind is, how then can I cultivate mindfulness? And it's not rocket science. I would say it is not impossible, but it takes practice, practice, practice. You don't just wake up one morning and then realize that, all of a sudden I am mindful. It comes with practice. Having knowledge of all these things does not automatically turn you into someone who practices it. It is one thing to know about it, to have read about it. It is another art altogether to become someone who practices it, someone who is mindful. I have learned that one of the things that can calm me down is intentional breathing. Like, take deep breaths, count your breaths, count your seconds as you're breathing in, you're counting, you're paying attention and counting, and then you breathe out. That is a great tool to calm down the stress, and that is practicing mindful breathing. I take deep breaths in. I'm following the breath from when I inhale to how it's navigating its way down, and I can almost feel it in my lungs. Then I know that, oh, air has gotten in. And then I start exhaling through my mouth. I push it out until I feel everything going out. Jesus, that is a good stress reliever. It starts with the very little things. You practice mindful eating. Do you just rush over food you're eating as a formality? Take the food into your mouth. Chew it until you can feel every spice. Don't rush it. Remember, this is a practice you're trying to build for yourself. It may feel stupid at the beginning, like, why do I have to eat this slow? Why do I have to breathe this slow? Why do I have to do this? You have too many whys at the beginning. But remember that you're not just doing it for no reason. It is building something in you. And before long, you become someone who is mindful and aware. Not just with your breathing, not just with your eating, but with other circumstances. It is all about practice. Practice mindful observation. Just sit out of your house one day and intentionally observe. That will help you practice to become a mindful person. I even practice mindful walking sometimes. Sometimes when I'm walking, I try to be mindful to feel every stone against my feet, because where I live is actually very stony. So if you're not wearing those very comfortable shoes, you would feel the stones. I feel as my feet are pressing onto the ground, I feel it. I pay attention to how much energy I am using to lift up my feet from the ground, to press my feet to the ground, to push my body forward. That is practicing mindfulness. Journaling is one very good way to practice mindfulness, because it helps you take a pause and reflect. You need to remember, you need to pay attention. So those are some of the things that you can do to develop yourself as someone who is mindful. Journaling, mindful eating, mindful walking, mindful breathing, keen observation, just sometimes I'm in a meeting, but I'm practicing mindfulness. I'm just watching people as they talk. And during that time, you can almost connect to their intentions. It feels like when I pay that much attention, when I become mindful, I'm looking at the way your mouth is moving. I'm looking at the way your eyes are moving. I'm looking at the way the gestures of your face is changing, your body language. I'm being mindful to what you're saying. It almost feels like I can read your mind. I know the true intentions of your heart. That feels like witchcraft to me, but yes, it's mindfulness. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful to be able to understand people's heart beyond the words they are saying. Yes, you're saying one thing, but I usually gone for your heart. Looking at you, sometimes in silence, I just want to know, like, beyond the words you're saying to me, what is your heart saying? I connect with your heart as opposed to your words. I love the words. They're beautiful. But then what is your heart telling me? And when I become mindful in that conversation, I can almost connect to what your heart is saying, even beyond the words you're speaking. And sometimes it's like, say no more. You don't need to explain. I get it because I got your heart. That is the power of mindfulness. There are some things that can stand as a challenge to mindfulness. You have like distractions, sometimes you want to observe keenly, like I'm looking at this tree right now and then someone is passing, and before you know it, your attention is off the tree. You're looking at the person's beautiful dress because it's a Sunday morning, everybody's beautifully dressed, and boom, I'm distracted. Another thing can be judgment. We judge our thoughts. We don't want to pay attention to our thoughts, to our emotions, to our feelings, because we judge ourselves ourselves. We judge and condemn ourselves for feeling jealous, for feeling angry, for being bitter, for feeling sad and all of that. You are human and it's okay to have these feelings. You are definitely gonna have these feelings. If it's any consolation, everyone has these feelings. Even the people who don't talk about it, they get jealous, they get bitter, they get angry, they get sad. Instead of running away from it, how about you face it and then choose how you react to this feeling? If you don't address it, you will find yourself doing the wrong things when you feel jealous. You will find yourself doing the wrong things when you feel angry. But if you address it, you can control how you react to jealousy, how you can superimpose another feeling until the feeling of jealousy gives way. Another thing that can be a hindrance is patience, lack of patience. Like I said, it feels stupid sometimes to practice mindful breathing, mindful eating, mindful walking, observation, journaling. Like it feels like a waste of time. But without that patience, you will not be able to successfully build that skill. And in order to help you build the patience, you don't need to, observe for a long period of time. You could start by just setting aside 1 minute. You can practice mindful breathing for 1 minute. You can observe for 5 minutes. You can practice mindful walking for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then you begin to progress. But whatever the hindrances that stand in your way, always remember that mindfulness is a skill, and the skill of mindfulness does not accidentally come to you. It comes when you practice. Thank you for joining in on today's episode. I hope that this has helped you. I hope that I'm not just giving these tips to myself, but you are going to put it into use and you're going to be on your way to become mindful as you pursue intentional living. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, subscribe, and also drop a comment to let me know your thoughts. Until we meet again next week for another exciting episode of Intentional Living, stay mindful, stay encouraged, stay hopeful, and always remember, I am Emmy. When Emmy speaks, she speaks to the world. Are you listening? Bye everybody. Have a blessed week ahead.